Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, in fact, as we are delighted to extend a very warm welcome to people joining us from all over the world. For anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Peter McGarry. I'm the founder of the Earth Foundation, and I'm here today with the Foundation team to officially launch the Earth Prize. I'm briefly going to explain how the Earth Prize came about, but mainly we will hear from the team that will make it happen. Plus a few words from our head judge and one of the schools who are taking part. This is a special moment for us, not least because we are joined by one of my own personal heroes. I've been very lucky to run marathons on all 7 continents and at the North Pole, and that was directly inspired by our next speaker. So without further ado, I will hand over to Sir Ranulph Fiennes.
Thank you, Peter, very much. I am Ran Fiennes, and I spent the last 52 years leading expeditions with a dedicated team, including many scientists, although I'm not a scientist at all. Our group are from 9 different countries, and the 52 of them on call. Some of them have different expertises to others. The only thing they've all got in common is that I have never paid anybody anything for anything at any time. So we don't have a bank account when we want to do an expedition that will cost £30 million. We start writing to people and asking them, and I learnt that from my late wife of 35 years, who was, of course, Scottish and therefore into no money. Basically, what we've been doing is to try to break existing world records and to do it without paying anybody. So it's amazing that the 52 of them are still coming all those years later. They're still coming. Obviously, quite a few are dead, so they're not. But the rest of them are still with us. Basically, 40% of the expeditions we've tried to do, we've failed, but we include as failure when we've got to break the world record. We've broken the world record, but not got to the final goal. If you do get there to the goal, what you do is you make a lot of noise about it in the media, because that is what your sponsors want. And to us, the sponsors, of course, are vital. And what you want to do also is to put your flag at the pole or whatever it is, or in Peter's case, the 7th marathon. And basically, when you get there, you put your flag there and make sure that you beat everybody, especially the Norwegians. We do not call them rivals, we call them enemy, in order to do better, try harder. And basically, some of the places we've been to, we've done the first ever journey around planet Earth, from Greenwich, due south, over the Antarctic continent, which is, of course, far bigger than America, but with no shops en route, which is why it had never been gone before unsupported. We did it in the 1970s when there were no polar orbiting satellites and therefore no GPS or anything other than a compass and a theodolite or sextant. So we were navigating the same way as Shackleton and Scott some 40 years previously. But we then tried these things again in the 1990s, by which time there were polar orbiting satellites. And instead of going out with a theodolite at the end of the day at -60, putting the bubbles on the theodolite correct, very, very cold, you go into your tent and you put the cooker on and you press your sat-nav and it instantly tells you where you are without getting the altitude of the sun. And the sat phone, so instead of going out and putting 2 ski sticks up and pointing your antenna wire at the base commander, who in our case was my wife, Ginny, who suggested most of the expeditions that we ever did at breakfast time, and would send me to a library to find out where she was thinking of doing a record. And when I got to the library, I would for instance, when she said we're doing the first journey around Earth vertically without flying 1 meter of the 52,000 miles, I went to have a quick look at a map, and I realized that we would be doing what Shackleton and Scott and Amundsen and many others and Peary had tried to do, and they had more experience, really. So I went home and I told Jenny that it was a stupid idea. She became quite unpleasant, so I went back to the library. Basically, we spent 50 years breaking world records. Just to mention a few of them, we went up the longest river in the world, the first complete journey. We used a prototype two-seater hovercraft to do that, 4,000 miles. And going round the world, we of course had to pass from Greenwich through Europe because France sort of got in the way. And when we hit a bit of land instead of ocean, our ancient 40-year-old ship dropped 3 Land Rovers off with the land group, who would then go down the Greenwich Meridian until the next bit of ocean, where the ship would pick us up, take us down to Africa, which got in the way, through the Sahara, through the jungles of the Ivory Coast. Ship picks you up, take you down to Cape Town. The ship loads up very heavily and goes into the screaming 60s, down to where the Greenwich Meridian hits Antarctica. The ship then says goodbye, see you again in 2 years' time. If you manage to cross Antarctica, we'll pick you up in the Pacific down by New Zealand. Well, we did that. We first one single team ever to manage to get across. All of this was planned by my wife. She spent 4 years with the Territorial Army learning to become the best frequency prediction person, better than Marconi, better at antenna theory than the British Antarctic Survey, and she would fly, and we would have a cardboard hut in which we would spend 8 months in lockdown, waiting on the edge of Antarctica or 400 miles into it to do a 900-mile stretch never explored before, never traveled before. Nobody knew how high it was. Then when we got to the other end of this Antarctica, we saw smoke 400 miles away, the only volcano on the continent, which helped my navigation. We then got to the coast, planned on a route by Ginny 8 years before we got there. The ship came in, everybody still on board, still unpaid, which was good, collected us, took us up the other side of the world via America and the Yukon. We did the first open boat journey. By now there were only 2 of us on the actual round the world travel, and the boat was an open 16-foot boat. So we did for 2,500 miles, the first ever open boat journey through the Northwest Passage above North America. And then we spent another lockdown for another 8 months with Ginny, the radio operator, and Charlie Burton from South Africa, who was the man with me on the whole trip. And we waited that 8 months, and Ginny took a Jack Russell Terrier wherever we went, pain in the neck, but it became Pet of the Year in the UK and was the only dog ever to get into the Guinness Book of Records for having peed on both poles. And basically we got to the North Pole, stuck the flag there, at which point we were the first human beings to reach both poles by surface travel. We then had to float, unfortunately, for 8 months on an ice floe, which didn't always go where we wanted it to, sometimes down to the Soviet Union, sometimes to Spitsbergen. The ship somehow managed just in time to collect us before another winter on the floe, and we got back to Greenwich within 2 days of the date Ginny planned 8 years previously. That was one expedition. We've done a total of 59 expeditions in every country you can think of. Climbed up Everest. When I got to the top, I was the first old age pensioner at sort of 65. Up the Eiger, North Face, and so on. We've done pretty much everything that is a record to be broken, especially if the Norwegians announced that they would be trying to do it. As a result of all that, I have to say that during those travels, I witnessed the shrinking of the ice caps, the bleaching of the ocean's corals, massive deforestation, often in places you would not expect it, like Siberia, and the destruction of many species. I believe that your Earth Prize is a vital and timely initiative, and that it is crucial that we all face up to our global crisis now. I would encourage any school teacher or parent or student who is watching to get involved. And Peter and his team are now going to show you just how.
Well, thank you, Sir Ranulph. The 2 things spring to mind. First of all, I want to assure all our Norwegian watchers that you were just kidding. And the second thing is, it'll be no surprise to anybody listening to that why you inspired me to do things that I thought were extreme, but really pale in significance. I want to speak now just for a moment about what inspired the Earth Foundation's creation. So my personal passion is markets, trading. I'm a partner in a hedge fund in Geneva here in Switzerland. And back in September 2019, I was sitting in my office, and there was this tremendous commotion outside the window. Hundreds and thousands of students went walking by, marching, chanting. There was tremendous enthusiasm and passion on display. And it's normally a quiet and sleepy town, I can assure you. I was even more shocked the next day to see a photo of my eldest daughter in a local newspaper right at the front of that march. And I had to put my hand up. I had no clue what was going on. And I asked Cora, my daughter, to explain. And then she explained the concept of school strikes, how they'd been inspired by Greta Thunberg, and how her school and her classmates had gone out to show their frustrations. And I guess that was my personal moment of inspiration to get involved and to try and do something positive with regard to environmental sustainability. The goal became to build an ecosystem to have real impact. We set up a Swiss non-for-profit foundation. We called it simply the Earth Foundation, and we gave it a simple but powerful mission to accelerate positive change toward environmental sustainability. We decided to focus on students, high school students, university students, researchers, and aspiring founders of fresh ideas. Our first initiative and the focus of today's webinar is a global prize for teenage students that will take the passion and the enthusiasm that I saw outside my own window and try and educate, mentor, inspire, and empower those students to solve the unsolvable, to come up with the fresh ideas that we so badly need. This is the Earth Prize. Now, long before there was any commotion outside my window, long before Greta even stood outside the Swedish Parliament, there was already a prize called the Earth Prize. It was founded by Professor Mario Salamoni, and it was organized by the World Environmental Education Congress. We spoke to Professor Salamoni about our vision of evolving the prize into a global student-focused one. And Professor Salamoni loved our idea, and with his help, we have repurposed the Earth Prize. Professor Salamoni acts as one of our advisors, and it's our sincere hope that we can continue the legacy that he has started. So I want to stop there. I've spoken about ideas, inspiration, missions, and these are all great. But just as Sir Ranulph inspires through actions, we needed a team to put these ideas into action. And the next two speakers are now the backbone of that team. And it's my great honor to hand over now to our CEO, Angela McCarthy.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's a pleasure to be here today. And thank you to all those who have joined us on this webinar. Initially, I spoke to a handful of schools that I know well, just to get feedback on what they thought about what we were doing. And the first few conversations I had on the phone were overwhelming. They were so excited and enthusiastic about our initiative. I knew we were onto something big. From there, we went and we started our Swiss non-for-profit foundation. We put our management team in place, we have our board in place, and I must say that our management team, thanks to them and all their hard work, we are here today. They have done an amazing job on the marketing, logo, branding, and website. And in fact, prior to the website, we managed to sign up schools from 5 continents, from tiny Switzerland to Hawaii, to Lebanon, to America, to Nepal. The amazing feedback we got from all these schools, the most common thread was they loved our ecosystem and they loved the entrepreneurial skills that we would be teaching the students, knowing that they would be using those skills long after they've left school. From there, we really felt that we had the chance to change and make an impact for the youth today, long term. For me personally, the feeling that I could be part of something from the beginning that empowers, inspires, educates, encourages students is beyond incredible. And I'm truly honored, and I'm so excited to be a part of this team. Now, this is just a snapshot of what we have done so far today. But going forward, I'm going to pass you on to Julie Ruffino, our brilliant head of strategy, who's going to take us through the Earth Prize and give us details on how our structure is set up. Julie Ruffino, please go ahead.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone joining us from around the world. It's a real pleasure for me to be here with you today. In fact, it's somewhat more than that. I'm truly passionate about giving young people, other young people, an opportunity to make change and to have a voice. So today, I would like to present the Earth Prize to you, tell you how it works and what makes it so unique. In a nutshell, the Earth Prize is a global environmental sustainability competition. It's open to all teenagers from all around the world. And there is $200,000 to be won. That means $100,000 for the winners. Everything will start in September, on the 1st of September, 2021. Students will then have up until the end of January 2022 to submit an idea with the potential to have an impact on environmental sustainability. And the winners will be announced in March 2022. But what we are doing is more than just a prize. We are here to inspire, educate, mentor, and empower students. We are working with world-class film producers and experts on environmental sustainability to create videos that will teach all of our participants. These videos will do three things. First, they will teach about the Earth and environmental sustainability. Second, they will showcase stories from inspiring changemakers from all around the world. And these stories will help our participants on their own journey to impact. And third, these videos will teach real-world skills, which are necessary and vital for anyone who wants to become a change maker. If students have a question on these videos, or on anything else for that matter, they will have a pool of mentors that they can reach out to. These mentors will be here to guide them, and they will also be here to guide any teacher who might have a question. Finally, we are offering our 10 finalists the unique opportunity to interact with a real and world celebrity, one of the Earth Prize ambassadors. These ambassadors will be announced soon, so do stay tuned on our social media. Now, I've given you the nuts and bolts of the Earth Prize and what we're doing. But if there's one thing that I would like you to remember, is that the Earth Prize is here to support you. It's here to give you an opportunity for students and teachers and educators. And this is really what we are passionate about, giving you an opportunity. So I can only encourage you to visit our website and pre-register for the Earth Prize. We are so looking forward to seeing all the incredible ideas and solutions from students from around the world. So do visit and pre-register. Now, we've heard about the Earth Foundation, its creation, and the Earth Prize. It's time to hear from one of the schools that is participating. I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker, Richard McDonald, who is the Executive Director of Aiglon College in Switzerland. Richard, thank you so much for being here with us today, and the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Julie. And I would like to thank all of you here for your passion and energy to get this prize off the ground. But your success will actually be defined by the quality and commitment of people who throw themselves into the challenge that you've offered. And that challenge lies with us, with the schools. I was very proud and happy to be a school that committed early to pursuing this particular prize for a number of reasons. The first is quite clearly addressing the issue of environmental challenge today has moved from being a nice to have to a must have. And in fact, it made that move a long time ago. and society has to catch up, and schools have to catch up. We have to have these kind of environmental concerns at the heart of our activities and build other learning around it, because it is one of the driving imperatives that will impact everybody in our schools. And in the same way that we're dealing with a major global challenge, the people who will design the solutions, they are in our schools now. The great innovators over the years have often made their big transformational steps in their 20s and 30s. And so schools have a huge responsibility to be the motors for the success of these kind of initiatives. So we need to drive that sense of global responsibility. We need to drive innovative science, and we need to build a sense of care. And on those three, this prize provides a wonderful opportunity. And I would certainly encourage my colleagues around the world, wherever you are, whatever your school, whatever your student makeup, everybody has that potential to have the spark of brilliance and the spark of determination and the appetite to be a change maker in the world. So I would conclude simply by encouraging other schools and other students who may be watching this webinar, grab this opportunity. This may be your opportunity, not just to win a prize, but to win the bigger prize, which is to be a real transformer in the years ahead.
Thank you so much, Richard. They were such elegant words. I'm dumbfounded. I think now would be a great time to hear about, we're holding a competition. We needed a world-class adjudicating panel to adjudicate upon the submissions. And who better than to head up that than our next speaker? Reena, over to you, please.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Julie and Angela and the team of the Earth Foundation for giving me the opportunity to be part of the Earth Prize. My name is Rina Kupferschmid-Rojas. I'm the head of sustainable finance for UBS. I'm actually greeting you from the United States. So as you see, we're very global, and we want to continue like that with your participation. We, as a adjudicating panel, our work is basically to evaluate your ideas. But before we go into that, I want to tell you why I decided to join and be part of this initiative. When I was 16 years old and learning about all of the geography in the world, I grew up in Venezuela, a developing country, and I dream of traveling and seeing all these amazing places. When I turned 18 and I was able to travel by my own, I decided to go and do a world travel. And I did visit many of those places that I wanted to see. And I continue to do so. And what I have seen in the last couple of years is that the climate change that is happening around the planet is actually very, very tangible. So many places that I visited 20 years ago are not the same right now. And it could be also from the regions where you are at and where your schools are actually right now. So what I encourage you to participate in the Earth Prize is because basically you and us are the first generation that can make a tangible change in stopping climate change and also making solutions to make our environment better, to have what we call a positive impact. And the reason that we care is not just because we wanted to have and preserve the earth. It's also an economic, I would say, point of view that we see in companies right now that care more about the environmental issues that are around of products and services that we see. So it's an ecosystem that we are working on, and also we would like you to be part of. And the reason that I think this Earth Prize is going to be different, and you might be thinking there are many awards out there, and I think the reason that this prize is different is because of you, of your participation. I think giving you the platform to learn, to actually be a change maker, and to be part of this initiative and be part of a global community. So I think that's the opportunity that you have, as many other schools around the world. So we encourage you to be very, very active. And let me tell you also what we're looking for. We talk about ideas, we talk about rewards, but basically we're looking for ideas and solutions that are needed, also ideas that are accurate and trying to solve a problem, In most cases, we would like to see ideas that are affordable, that are easy to use, and but also perhaps scalable. So maybe you will be thinking about creating a new product, creating a new services, but also could be a change in law. So we're very flexible in what we would like to see, and also to inspire you to have some innovation. So thank you so much again for having me, and back to you, Peter.
Thanks, Rina. So I ask Sir Ranulph to just give us a few closing words, really. Sir Ranulph, back to you.
Thank you for inviting me to be part of this vital initiative. And a very warm thank you to everybody who is watching around the world. Please do visit the website www.theearthprize.org to register your interest and get thinking. Your idea just could be the one that not only wins a fantastic prize, but it could change our world. Thank you from all of us.
Well, a sincere thank you to you, Sir Ranulph, and thank you to all our speakers. For those watching, you'll be glad to know the talking is finally coming to an end. I guess what we'd like now is for anybody who has questions to ask questions. We're going to take a brief pause and then come back and answer your questions. Thank you. Right, I think we're back and we have a few questions. Thanks everybody for submitting those. There's a little box down the bottom where you can type away, and we'll try our best now to answer those. So let me see. So the first one comes from Nikki, and she asks, how do you feel you're different from the Foundation for Environmental Education? So we have been in contact with one of their initiatives, which is Eco Schools, and we're hoping that we can partner with them. And what they do is fantastic. But I would just say that, you know, you can't have enough initiatives in this field. I don't think anyone will ever have a monopoly on this. And the frustrations that are so evident when you hear someone like Greta speak, or when you saw those kids march throughout the world, I think, you know, that's what this prize hopefully will be different in addressing. That we can tap into teenagers, you know, wanting to be part of the solution, that they have ideas, and hopefully, you know, this will be a platform for them to showcase those. So I hope that answers that question. We have one or two questions which are similar, which are, you know, there are a lot of prizes, a lot of initiatives to do with the environment. And maybe I'll pass this to Reena. Reena, why the Earth Prize? Why is this one the one?
Yes, thank you, Peter. I think I said it before today. It is about, you know, the opportunity for the youth to be part of the solution. So I know there are many prizes out there. The way I think that we have structured the prize is giving you the information that you're going to need to have informed project, but also to guide you around what are the problems and possible solutions that you might want to tackle. So I think the curriculum that the Earth Foundation has put together is unique. You're also going to have the opportunity to listen and see videos from experts, and also for some people, they're already working on solutions that are amazing. So I think When I think about the Earth Prize, it's the combination between education, being innovative, but also being on time. I think many of the solutions, as we were discussing before, are actually going to be probably local, that can be scalable, that can be to a global audience. So just make sure that you sign up for those informative videos, and also for the platform, because that's going to help you basically to find a solution that could be very innovative.
Thanks, Reena. Okay, here's a question that maybe Julie would be able to answer. It's trying to clarify something around the dates. So the first deadline is October, but the new school year starts in September for the Northern Hemisphere. Can you just explain a bit about dates, Julie?
Yeah, of course, I'm happy to. So the idea is that you can pre-register as of today, and then the real registration starts in September. And the submissions, so when you have to submit your idea, that's in January, so 2022. That means that you have all the time between September and January to be working on your project. And then the finalists will be working on their own projects or continuing their projects throughout February, and we'll announce the winners in March. So I hope this answers your question.
Great, thanks, Julie. We have another one here straight back at you, Julie. Can you tell us how the prize is split?
Yeah, of course. So as we mentioned before, there's $200,000 in prize money, and that means $100,000 for the winners. So the winners will be receiving this money, and it's going to be split equally between the school, so $50,000 for the school, and $50,000 for the team or individual that won. For the school, this money is going to go to environmental sustainable projects. And then we have the rest of the $100,000, of which 25,000 is going to go to 3 schools. So those are going to be the 3 runners up. And finally, we have $12,500 that go to the Earth Prize Mentor of the Year. As we mentioned before, we have a pool of mentors that are going to help the students. And the best mentor selected by the students is going to receive this $12,500 prize. And we also have a $12,500 prize for the Educator of the Year. And this educator is going to be selected by Professor Mario Salamone, who is the founder of the original Earth Prize. And so this is a nice piece of legacy for him. So we believe that all together, this entire prize is really here to help further our entire ecosystem on our way towards a better world and more environmental sustainability.
Thanks, Julie. Okay, a few easy questions here, which I'll take.
Or I'll take.
Well, hold on. So are collaborations between schools allowed? So no, Mark, we're trying to keep it, within a school. So a team can be different age groups, different friends, but within the same school. Is Peter from Ireland? Yes, I'm from Ireland.
With a name like McGarry, for sure.
So maybe now we'd push one over to Richard, and this one from Lawrence. Could you explain the anticipated or recommended relationship between educators and students with regard to the submissions teams? Richard, any thoughts around that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think the key here is that we want this to be really organic and be driven and student-centered and student-focused. And the role of the educators, the teachers, is to sustain and motivate rather than to feed all the answers. So it's to use that corny phrase, it's the guide at the side. So I think it's really important that there's real agency on the part of the students to take the initiative. And clearly from one school to another, there'll be some schools that will perhaps want to provide more guidance, less guidance, but for obvious reasons of ethical honesty, it's really important that it's demonstrably the work of students and not their teachers.
Well said, Richard. Okay, here's a great question that just came in, and I think, you know, Angela is probably best suited for this. Is the Earth Prize open to all students or only to students of participating schools? What is the process for a new school to join?
Well, good question, and a common one. So in fact, we are open to all schools all over the world. And as mentioned previously, just before we even had a website, we reached out and we have schools pre-registered on 5 continents for now. So all you would need to do is go and pre-register on our website. And from there, what we normally do is you would have a call directly with me. And I've spoken to every single school so far that is signed up and participated. And I think that's one of the most important sides of this, is that we have a personal relationship, and I guide you through what we're offering and what is so beautiful about the Earth Prize. And for us, it is global, and we really want every school to participate wherever you are. And reminder, it's for free. There's no cost to this. So you can go ahead, go on our website, pre-register. And also, if you happen to know someone or know a school or your old school, and you think they'd be interested in what we're doing, we'd be happy to also have a call with them. So please jump on our website and send us any information or ask us any further questions. But the minute you register, I will have a call with you. I hope that answers your question.
You're going to be busy, Angela. You're going to be very busy, hopefully. Okay, great question from Namita. Reena, maybe you'd want to answer this. Do the ideas have to follow a certain theme, or is it completely open?
It's actually completely open. What I would recommend the schools and the teachers that are participating, we have a curriculum. So really follow the curriculum and try to identify something that the kids are very passionate about it. The way that the solutions we would like to see is they are needed, that basically they are really, they in some point can be scalable if they are local, but also that could be implemented. So learning, I guess, the curriculum and trying to identify those issues and then trying to work solutions towards that. But we don't have a theme. You can work in the theme of water, you can work in the theme of forest, you can work in a very specific one. So, and if you are looking more for ideas, I guess where the videos and the solutions that we're presenting are going to be a good way to basically to inspire you to see if there is anything there for you as well.
Thanks, Reena. Rita asked a question on a similar theme, which maybe I'll take. She says, do we only want proposals? Are we looking for, you know, they are not supposed to concretely implement it? Well, you know, ultimately we do want these ideas to be implemented. You know, that's the whole point. We want to inspire the kids, and we want their ideas to have an impact. And hopefully the ones that we showcase and highlight, you know, we think have the best, you know, possibility of having that impact. So ideally, you know, they would already be in the process of being implemented. Julie, here's one for you again. Such an exciting initiative. Thanks, Karen. Can you explain more about the stages in the process?
Yeah, happy to. So as we were saying before, you can pre-register as of today. So do so. Once you've registered and registrations are open in September, students will have access to our platform. And through our platform, they can access learning materials, which consists of videos, but also text, as well as this pool of mentors we were mentioning. So as of the first day of registration, we will be here to provide support, learning support, but also just guidance and inspiration, empowerment to each and every student. So this will go from September to October, the end of October, where you confirm your registration. This is just a formality, and then you continue to the end of January. And so from the beginning of September till the end of January, you'll have access to all these materials, as we mentioned before. At the end of January, we'll select the top 10 finalists. But before doing that, we will recognize all excellent submissions. and give them a distinction, which will be really a recognition from our side for all the fantastic work and the fantastic ideas that will come out. For the finalists, they will be working over the month of February, and there they will be doing some additional work, or I shouldn't call it work, but fun exercises. For example, they will be connected with an ambassador that we will present to them to help them on a social media engagement campaign. And finally, after all of this, the winners will be announced in March. There's much more information on our website, so please do visit, because I don't want to bore you with all the little details right now.
Yeah, well, thanks, Julie. Another easy one, which I'll take from Neil. Is it possible to have more than one team from a school? Absolutely. The more the merrier. One question, actually, I'll push back to you, Richard. You know, you've had the most time to think about this, so it's probably the most relevant. Do you see this being part of the Eglon curriculum or extracurricular activity, or how have you thought around placing the prize within the school year?
I'm obviously very sensitive that schools are super busy places. There are a lot of pressures on students. There's a lot of pressures on their teachers, and they're going to need to find a way to align the activities the activities for the prize with the many other calls in their time. But I think that the way in which that's dealt with has to be delegated to the educational leaders within areas designated by the school, which may typically, but not exclusively, be the science department or subsets of the science department. But ideally, I would like to see multiple departments in schools that are interfacing, because the impact on a range of subjects, whether it's business, economics, geography, we want holistic solutions and holistic vision. So I think that must lie with schools to determine how that can work within their own institutions with their own finite resources.
Great, thank you, Richard. I'm a bit mindful of the time, so we don't want to go on too long, but maybe we'll take just a few more. There's one here from Lawrence. In what ways does participation in the Earth Prize create opportunities for networking, inter-school collaboration, community building, and thought partnership and innovation? So this is a key thing, you know, when we thought of the foundation and the initiatives that we want to create, is that an initiative on its own, we think, is much less powerful than one part of a bigger ecosystem. So the idea is, you know, as the students sign up and participate, we will hopefully be able to have events like webinars where we will, you know, get people who are part of the videos or experts on different aspects of sustainability, that the kids can real time ask questions. And we think initiatives like that will help this inter-school collaboration and community building that we're very much part of trying to achieve, and the whole, you know, the process of innovation. So here's one for Angela from Dana. My students are really fired up to help the planet. If they want to do more, can they?
Absolutely. Of course they can. They need to just register. Then they're going to get going right away. This is what we're here for. We're really here as a platform springboard for those students who have a passion, who are excited, who have amazing ideas and know where to place them and showcase them. So that's the Earth Prize. And along with that, they're potentially going to win an award for their school, but also to inspire kids all over the world by sharing their thoughts and ideas. So we are here for that. All you have to do is sign up and you can start working on your ideas and sharing it.
Thanks, Angela. So another question here about each school only having one team. So just to reiterate that, you know, as many schools, you know, many teams, sorry, per school, you know, we really don't want to limit this. We want different age groups, and we want, you know, hopefully a competition within the school, amongst the school, amongst the countries, etc. Okay, Elaine asked one So we will ask one or two more and then we wrap it up. Reena, from Elaine, how evolved should the ideas be on submission? Are they just ideas or must they be thoroughly worked out and presented?
Yeah, so we're going to be publishing the criteria for the ideas, but basically on the framework that we're trying to create is really to talk through about the solutions, and I see you have to think about a solution that is needed, as I mentioned before, but also that is tackling one of the issues that we have right now. So I don't think we're going to ask students to give us a business plans out of and how to implement it completely, but at least, you know, that we can take it through the next steps. So, but follow us and also visit the website for when the criteria are open to you. And for questions, please just reach out. Yeah.
Right. Well, I might just touch on one last question. It's a tough one, so I'll give it to myself this time. It says from Tom, you're encouraging the young generation to find long-term solutions to existing problems. On a personal level, what changes have you made to set an appropriate example? So tough question. So, you know, all I can say, Tom, is, you know, I'm looking to buy a car at the moment and I'm trying my best to find an electric one. So a small little thing, but, you know, that's an example. But I hope, you know, what we're doing here, and I speak for all the team and not just the people you've seen speak. We have a bigger team. I want to shout out to Annette, to Deanna, and to Nunu as well. You know, we're all very passionate about what we're doing. And we really hope that, you know, this will be something that the kids who participate will really get a lot out of. And then in turn, we will all get a lot out of that. So, you know, I don't think anybody, you know, knows exactly what's going to come out of the answers, but we're super excited to see the solutions and the fresh ideas that are going to come from this. So I think, you know, we want to keep it under the hour mark. So I think we'd probably just wrap it up there. You know, as a parting words, please, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to Sir Ranulph Fiennes again, and apologies to all our Norwegians. I also want to say a special thanks to Reena and to Richard. You know, having their involvement in the journey is fantastic. The team, as I've mentioned, we're super passionate and we're very excited to get as many schools signed up in the coming weeks and months. And the final thing I would say is, you know, join us on this journey. You know, if you know a school, you know a teacher, you know, get them involved. The website is www.theearthprize.org. You know, we're free to ask us all the questions you can, info@theearthprize.org, and hopefully we can answer them. And we look forward to being on that journey with you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
See you.
Bye.